huge chickens, and they're running all around the countryside.
Yeah. I'm sitting in the middle of Yorkshire writing country songs that are playing on American jukeboxes.
He's like, why didn't you just call the composers up? And they're like, can we do that? He's like, yeah. And we were so excited that the first showing was going to be and was at the Toronto Film Festival.
The deal was pulled.
No distribution, not going to be in theaters,
Horrendous.
sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Welcome to Two Composers, Two Continents, a podcast about our lives making music together and the people we meet along the way. And you can find us on YouTube, on TikTok at Two Composers, Two Continents with the number 2. And you can find us on all audio streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We need to hear from people.
Absolutely.
Jeffrey Megan over there.
David Tobin over there. We are once again literally two composers, two continents.
Yes, we are.
I'm in Chicago. David is in Yorkshire.
What's it like there today, by the way? Because it's a snow day here. It is grey, and I've got one not so happy little one who didn't have a snow day, and one who was very happy, who was sledding down the hill last I saw.
Oh gosh, no, today's fine. It is January here. It's very gray, but it's warm. It's in the 40s. It rained like 3 inches yesterday. It's crazy.
Funnily enough, it's January here too. So
is it January there too?
Real time.
It's so crazy.
Wow. So what are we doing today? What are we talking about, Jeffrey?
So years ago, give us a year. Do you know what year this was?
Yeah, Well, I do.
2016?
It was when I got married. It was 2016.
2016. Okay. David and I were asked to do the music for the feature documentary, Super Size Me 2.
Holy chicken.
Holy chickens.
Before we talk about the brief to this, for anybody that doesn't remember it, Super Size Me 1. Morgan Spurlock created this movie. And it was Oscar nominated, right?
Yeah, so it's the movie, a documentary where Morgan ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days and to see what it would do to his body. So it got a lot of attention. It got an Academy Award nom, I think, as you said. And it was, kind of made a big splash. So years later, because it was quite a few years later, they decided to do a follow-up, which was very different. It wasn't about him eating fast food. It was fast food involved, but it was more about big chicken, if you will, and the chicken industry.
Huge chicken.
Huge chickens, and they're running all around the countryside.
Yeah.
How did this come about, David, for you and I?
I was coming back somewhere on a train, and I get a phone call, and it said international call.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay. And it was the production team. It was a guy, I think it was a guy called Adam Sonnenfeld, who had rung me, who was the production manager, I think, or he was one of the creative team for this movie. The gist was that they had been using some music as temp tracks, as placement tracks for the movie, because they had an account with Audio Network. They'd used several of our tracks. One in particular had really resonated, and I think that was Sorcerer's Dance. I'm sure we'll be playing a little bit of that behind our heads. Sing it, Jeffrey. And they'd used a few more tracks, and eventually, instead of using those temps, they'd had this idea, well, why don't we contact the composers and get them to write something bespoke for the show? Because I think, from what he was saying, they were concerned that it would sound like the production value was lower if they were using completely unconnected pieces of music. It would sound like production music off a shelf, which is fine, but they wanted something that sounded more coherent.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I remember Adam telling this story, too, where he was like, they were in a room and one of the other producers or creative team was like, I wish we could have more like this and just kind of make it what we want. And Adam was the smart one who said, well, why don't you just call the producers? Not that the other producers weren't smart, by the way. But he's like, why didn't you just call the composers up? And they're like, can we do that? He's like, yeah. So that's how, Yeah,
this was just a week before I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that has any relevance, apart from anything else, is that you were flying out.
Right. I was
with
coming
the whole
out to
family.
the UK. Yeah, indeed.
And in fact, I've got a couple of photos of the family doing the whole thing, looking slightly younger, sans beard, the whole bit.
Right. Yeah.
wearing slightly more expensive clothes. So this was a week before that, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do now?
It's typical timing too, isn't it? Like,
put a plan together. Yeah.
When you have no time is when you get that call.
Yeah. But that's, at that stage, it was a big deal in our world. I remember it being a massive thing.
Yeah.
We decided that two of us was not going to cut it for this,
right,
with their time. And so we brought on our great friend and longtime collaborator, Tim Garland, who was also at the wedding. In fact, do you remember, sidebar, ding,
ding.
I remember we had a sort of 40s, like Prohibition, 30s Prohibition band. And Tim said, that looks like fun. I'll get my horn out of the car.
He ran to his car and got his horn out of the trunk. The boot. Sorry.
Yes, and all the some of the players who knew him quite well, one of them asked him for his autograph. They were a little disconcerted as he hopped on stage and started joining in. So we talked to him at the wedding, I remember, about co-writing.
About helping us out,
on the movie.
So now we sort of got a team. We sort of know what we're going to do. As I recall, they were like, they flew us out to New York either at our request or I think it was like, we got to come and talk to you guys.
I think it was
this.
both. I think it was a why don't we get together thing. But I mean, again, I've got a photo of us in Little Italy 1 week later. So I went on my 3-day honeymoon, came back, I was home for 1 day.
And then flew to New York.
And then we flew to New York. But we did it. And so tell us about, let's just go back a stage. Mm-hmm. At this stage, you'd never done a feature film that I know of.
No.
How did you
Nor
feel?
are you, right? So
no. What was the...
I mean, we were excited, obviously. It was hopeful that, it could lead to bigger and better things. And everything was still up in the air and unclear as to exactly, one, if we were going to get the film, a contract to do the film. And two, what the heck they needed in the first place.
Yeah, I remember NDAs and contracts and lawyers and stuff
that
weren't really part of our world.
Yeah, and it wasn't even, all that stuff kind of takes place before you even get to the point where you start talking about what the hell you're going to be doing.
Yeah, there was an awful lot. We watched a lot of the scenes together, and it became clear that the creative team hadn't made clear decisions at that stage or complete decisions on what they wanted. There was a lot of the comedy phrase of let's
put
stick a pin in
that. Let's stick a pin in that. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Fine.
We get to the end of the whole thing that we watched, because it wasn't the full movie at that point, and it was like only pins.
Yeah, no idea what we're doing, but I got the sense that what they wanted, and I think we'd made because Tim wasn't with us for this, but when we chatted with Tim, there was a sort of core of tracks that were fairly quirky. We were going to use the bassoon like it was on Sorcerer's Dance, almost like it was Morgan. That he was this character that was going
like
through, and that was their moving through. So there was this kind of bassoon, because it could be melancholy and it could be a bit quirky and it could have a little bit more seriousness to it.
Yeah.
So we used that, but then, unlike other movie projects we've since done, some of the stylistic changes from cue to cue were so extreme.
Right.
I mean, let's go through a few. So let's talk about some of the music.
Well, yeah, the whole movie started out with like a Western. I think the track was named Maverick. The idea, Morgan was opening up his own fast food restaurant, which seems sort of the exact opposite of something that he would have done given his first movie. And so that was kind of the theme for the opens up with that. So we had like a country and western thing, and then we had like some just drum beat stuff and just rhythm tracks. We had lots of very interesting, at least I think, when we showed the chickens a lot, there was some very humorous, and even the whole idea, Morgan's humor is a big part of his gig, right? When he tells these stories. And I thought that was expressed in a lot of the music, in different styles of music.
Yeah. But we even did, I mean, I remember doing a choral piece.
Right.
And we should, I mean, I think Ave Notum, it was like an Agnus Dei thing.
Right.
But we should say at this stage that because everything was so fluid, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think Warrior Poets was quite a small company. And all of a sudden, they'd got this big gig. And so there were a lot of people running around doing a lot of different jobs and a lot of spinning plates and people doing different things. And it meant that there was a lot of fluidity where you might want something to be locked, which, often it isn't, but it was never the case with this that we ever got to that kind of stage.
Yeah, I even think you're right. So for those listening who aren't familiar with it, usually there's some point in a project where the picture gets locked and you are framing your music to fit that locked picture, and this is what it's going to be. And, when they go to mix, they can nudge things here and there, but that's what it's going to be. But I think even when we got to the mix stage of this, because I looked at some emails, we were still sending stuff over, like, can we do,
changing,
so
and things changed and moved around, and even new cues. I looked back over old things, and I had 4 things called emergency cue 3, emergency cue 4. There was all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what a great way to get our feet wet in this. Doing a movie though.
It was pretty wild because, I mean, like you said, stylistically, we went through. There was sound design elements.
Right. Yeah.
We
wrote a country song. Remember the country?
We did.
Yeah.
My darling's calling me.
Ain't gonna feed no chickens when my darling's calling me.
There's a part in the somewhere in the middle where they're Morgan's driving in a pickup and he goes to meet this guy at a diner, and that's our country song is playing in the pickup, and then it goes to the jukebox, if you will, in the diner, and so it was.
I took a savage delight in writing. You wrote the top, and I wrote all the stuff underneath. I'm sitting in the middle of Yorkshire writing country songs that are playing on American jukeboxes. I was like, I don't know why I like this, but it just felt good,
That's great.
We had good fun. But you even did. There was a cue called Solaris. 7.5 minute cue. Yeah, that might be a record for us.
Luckily, it was all very sound designy, and it was all in the box. Most of this whole project was in the box, but it was all synths and stuff like that.
You got to imagine that a lot of what we're doing effectively is building them a custom music library, because we're trying to write it to picture, but there were bits where you just don't know what they want where, so you're saying what would maybe be useful. But then certain cues, I remember writing one cue. It was quite harrowing, really. I mean, you've got millions of chickens in a tiny little, this is technically not battery farming, but basically he was shining a light of and we're writing specific music to hit at a point when a chicken turns its head and you're looking at it and it's looking like angst, and it's, you're watching this over and over, and we've got cues called the hatchery and you know, different things. It was an interesting process. So let's talk a little about process. There's 3 of us here. What's your memory of the writing process, if you have any at all?
I think so. I think we kind of knew what the cues were, or those that we had at the time, and we just kind of divvied them up as to what we thought the musical styles would best suit each person. I'm doing this one because it's the country thing, or it's got a lot of percussion or whatever, and you would take the ones with a lot of string heavy stuff, or there was kind of that, like, we'll go to each other's strengths and split them up that way.
And I'm going to get nerdy for a minute now. So any listeners that are not interested in the technical of this, that's what your forward wind button is for. We tried to build reasonably copacetic systems between 3 of us so that we could move things around.
Right.
And we were using an architecture by a company called Vienna Symphonic called VE Pro. And we were building these systems so that you could load up sounds and pass them to somebody else and it would load up for them. Mm-hmm. And we were building these things, and sometimes they would work, and then on a Tuesday they just,
Wouldn't work,
it's Tuesday, I'm out today. And, not happening. And I looked back and I found it again, and it was. I remember it technically being quite challenging because we were trying to do things. Yeah. It was making sure your computers could handle it all.
Yeah.
And because your and my system were copacetic, but not with Tim's.
Tim was not at all. Yeah.
So this was complex, and we were using a lot of string samples where we were trying to make the sound of an ensemble a specific size because we knew we couldn't do it live. But there were live elements, obviously, all the way through.
Yeah. This was a classic. I think this was a classic case of, using a lot of stuff in the box and then adding one or two live elements on top to give it that realism and the nuance that a few things can add changes the whole piece. And I think we did that a lot with this one, if I recall.
Yeah, I know I played recorder. I know I played whistles. I know I sang.
Mm-hmm.
You were drumming all over the place. Tim there was saxophone all over this stuff, clarinet on some of it.
Yeah, I do recall that as well. Like, would be like, okay, I think this needs a little bit of, of clarinet on the top, and that'll help, give it some realism, or someone would hear another, one of the cues and go, what if we put a little whistle on top of that, and that'll help.
Yeah, the difficulty was that what we wanted to do was to get an ensemble, and in the really early part of this, we were even in talks with a publishing company about
throwing some money at it.
And doing all of this. The difficulty was that we never got to a point where they'd say the picture was locked so you could record an ensemble.
Well, yeah, and it just contractually, I think it was just too difficult for...
Complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're to the point where, let's say we have got everything done.
And how long, what are we talking here? A week, a month?
It was quite a long process. What we thought was going to be a fast process kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and I think it was almost a year, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
there was a lot of downtime. There were, I think, months of... Not all at one time, but if you added it up, like just waiting.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Sending something for review, and they say, we'll be back with you tomorrow, and in 2 weeks, next Tuesday, we'll be right with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were clearly just, making the film as they went. Yeah. So anyway, so we did get to the end. It took a while, but the good news was that, and we were so excited that the first showing was going to be and was at the Toronto Film Festival. Yeah,
and we should say we're talking about, there was probably an hour and 20 minutes of music, something like that. There was a lot of music.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for anybody that hasn't done this, we should also say that I've counted 16 cues that weren't used.
Mm-hmm, right.
So that's probably an hour's worth of music as well. Nearly.
Could be. Also should be said that there were some library tracks that were used in this. Paul Mottram's tracks, I think. Well, I know there were a couple Pauls. I forget there were some others.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know, just to throw
there were other things that came in, and that's often part of the gig is that you've done, and that stuff was compiled, we should say, by our great friend, and this was our first time working together, Chad Birmingham.
Chad Birmingham,
friend of the podcast.
Yes, absolutely. This is how we met Chad, working on this project. Yeah,
first time 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Hi, Chad.
Hi, Chad.
So we traveled to Toronto.
It was very exciting. Premiere, as you would expect, right? Little red carpet, photos to be taken.
But it was pretty cool. I'd never been to anything like that. Have you ever been to a film festival before that?
No, I don't think so. No, certainly not on the red carpet. And, experiencing that was exciting. And we had such high hopes that this was going to, the movie was well received once it was watched.
Yeah. It was a good movie. I liked it.
It still is a good movie, yeah. And they, pulled us up on stage afterwards for a Q&A. So we were with everyone and went to a party afterwards.
That's right. I forgot about the Q&A.
After that, they did get... they got a nice distribution deal, and so we thought, wow, this is going to be great. It's going to be in the theaters.
YouTube
it's going to be it's going to be all kinds of good stuff to help us with our, selfishly with our career, right? But what happened, David?
Well,
we don't have to go into the details.
Let's go into a little detail without going into too much. Mm-hmm. So this was at a time when there was a lot of discussion around the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. And Morgan wanted to discuss some things that had happened in his past. And so he did that right at that point, thinking that it would be probably slightly better received than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Is that reasonable?
Sure.
And
But-
as a result of some of the things that he discussed, the deal was pulled, was shelved.
Right, yeah. And so,
oh.
no distribution, not going to be in theaters,
Horrendous.
all this work we had done, not just us, but everyone, was sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Yep. For
But-
how long? How long did it sit there?
TIFF was 2017.
Yeah, no, it went on
And-
to the streaming in March 2019.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so I knew there was a 2-year thing there. So, so yeah, it did get picked up finally by Samuel Goldwyn, and there were some other companies involved.
And you can catch it, I mean, even on Sky in the UK.
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
available,
It's available for
there.
streaming now. It is worth a watch. I remember we got the call from Snoot. This was another production
right.
company that
I don't remember.
got the thing, and so they were asking for our contracts and stuff because it was going to be released. And this is when we were like, well, if you're going to do this, can we write a song for the end, for the closing credits?
Credit song.
A credit song. And they were like, yeah, sure you can. So thus began the journey of
Well, I mean, as always happens with us, we find a way to like
Make more work for
crowbar a
ourselves.
song into a into a
yes.
movie that never asked for a song, although we did do the country one.
Right, yeah.
So you'd come up with this idea,
Nothing But Chickens.
and you'd come up with this idea, and you sang a couple of bits into your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Cool ideas.
So what we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but chicken. What we got here? Nothing but chicken. Nothing but chicken in the house tonight.
And I had great fun. You sent them to me, and you went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I'd just done it? When he comes down, I said, here you go. I've taken the liberty, sir.
Yeah, so I love when this happens. I come back down the next day into the studio. There's an email or some communication like, "Hey, listen to this. This is where this is what I did," and it's like a full-fledged thing. And you're like, "Yes, there it is. He did it. It's done."
I think we've got, and I'm no doubt our editors supremes are putting this behind us as we talk. But
Quickly,
quickly. We've got all of the iterations from your first ideas to me singing the demo.
So what we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but chickens. Nothing but chickens in the house tonight.
Like I've said before, if I'm singing, it's either me saying Gloria Buste or it's comedy songs,
right?
of which this is so.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny that you didn't end up singing the final version because of your comedy song prowess.
I was so close. But then, and you sang it.
But every night that farmer comes down to see what the racket is behind the door. He says, what we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but chickens.
And then we sent it to Tim.
As a demo, yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah.
We sent it.
Was it Tim's idea?
And then Tim said, what about my great friend Ray Gelato, who is a British legend of the jazz scene here and a stalwart and just a real name. And we said, wonderful, wouldn't that be great to get him to do it?
He says, what we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but.
And then, because of you've got this idea in the chorus that you've got this call and response, what we got here? Nothing but chickens. We said, well, we'll get the kids on it.
Mm-hmm.
So Ted, my now 10-year-old, although again, I've got a slightly miffed older child, like, why was I not on it? I don't.
He wasn't on it?
No.
Oh,
It was
bummer.
Ted over and over and over again.
Oh.
So thanks, Ted.
Yeah, it's like a little shout section where,
Yeah.
we got here, and then raise nothing but chickens.
What we got here? Nothing but chickens. What we got here? Nothing but.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We recorded all this, and we mixed all this. We did everything top to bottom, right? Which
Yep.
sometimes we don't talk much about, but Yeah, so I just thought of that because I'm thinking of the release, because Nothing But Chickens is available on the streamers if you would like to go check it out.
Oh, the song. Yeah.
The song itself, yeah.
Yeah. With a great sax solo from Tim, by the way.
House tonight.
There you go. Yeah,
Love it.
I'm drumming, and I'm sure David's playing all piano and all the stuff. I mean, it's all
Yeah,
us.
I was
It's
piano
the three
playing.
of us. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
just
it was
funny
really
stuff.
fun. So, yeah, Nothing But Chicken. Supersize Me
Nothing
Too.
but chicken.
I just love the tagline, Holy Chicken.
Holy chicken.
I've got an end story for you. This is finished. I can't remember why you're not there, but Sean and I are looking around Toronto the day after we've seen the movie.
Oh, yeah, we flew out before you, yes.
Yeah. So we're wandering around,
Mm-hmm.
and we realized that in order to publicize the movie, they've made this grilled chicken sandwich or the crispy chicken sandwich. You know,
They had a
based on
food
their-
truck.
They
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
food truck.
Morgan's food truck, yeah.
We eventually found it, and you'll see there's a picture of me eating this chicken sandwich.
Holy chicken.
But well, this is great, and I think we've probably wrapped up Supersize Me 2.
I do think so. Go out, if you're listening, watching, go out and watch this movie. It's very eye-opening and informative, and it's a good watch. So
Yeah, and don't
Yeah.
forget, we need some comments, we need some interaction. So let us know what you think, and if there's stuff you'd like us to talk about, tell us about that. Or if
Yeah.
you want us to shut up, tell us that too. That's all.
there you go. We're happy to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, until the next time.
All right, thanks everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.